So pretty!
Hello my little magpies and cover hoes. Today I am throwing all literary credibility out of the window and doing what any respectable reader would do. And that's judging books entirely based on their covers. That's right, fonts over plot, foil over substance, and vibes over everything else. Do I know exactly what all of the books I'm reading in this vlog are about? No. Do I think their covers are pretty as fuck? Yes. So grab your prettiest bookmark and let's read some books that may or may not have personalities as hot as their packaging. So I thought I would start this vlog off by showing you covers that I think are stunning, are beautifully done. I've also categorized them. I noticed there were some similar themes of books that tend to grab my attention. So without much further ado, let's look at some covers that give you eyegasms. Or well, me at least. So we're starting off with one of my favorite, most eye-catching of the cover types, and that is ones that use a limited color palette. I think it is visually striking. I do have a particular penchant for covers that feature pink as one of the covers. So pink and green, pink and red, pink and yellow, and the like. I will always gravitate towards a cover that has limited color palettes, especially if the two colors chosen are contrasting, although I do also like monotones, so colors that are all just different shades of the same hue. Also keep an eye out for whichever category you think has the most stunning covers. Let me know down below which one it was. So yes, the limited color palette gets me every time. And then we have art. So these are books that look like they've been painted or drawn, made by a human hand. A lot of the time they include classical art, so art from the Renaissance era or the Romantic or the Baroque, all that sort of stuff. The art of the great artists of our human existence. They're just very classy. They feel very highbrow. They also feel timeless. And I just really appreciate human skill and talent. And of a similar vein, we have art with neon text. This is becoming really popular. I'm seeing it more often. And you've got the background, the art, the painted image, if you will. And then on top, you have neon text that is very eye-catching, and it adds a bit of a modern element to the otherwise very classical art cover. But I think it is really effective. I think out of all of the neon fonts, I like the neon green on the classic art the most. And then we have childlike. So these are covers that just speak to my inner child. They're colorful, they're fun, they're magical, imaginative, they give you good feels, even if the book itself is about something creepy. Somehow the childlike cover gives you this false sense of security when perhaps it shouldn't. But I think these are just really fun and they always grab my attention because of just the rainbowness of them. Then we have collage. So I have a soft spot for collage because that's the kind of art that I do. I have no inherent skill in creating my own, so I can only grab bits and pieces of things other people have done and put them all together to create something new. So I do really love also seeing collage on book covers. It's interesting. It always is a bit more enigmatic in regards to what is this book actually about. I think it lends an air of mystery, but once again, I do find it very eye-catching and I appreciate making new art from old art. Then we have gothic. So the goth queen in me does stan a moody, dark, slightly ominous and yet still romantic book cover. I don't find many gothic covers I like for some reason. I thought there would be way more book covers, but then again, I only looked at the last 2 years of books I read. So the pool for selecting covers was smaller, so to speak. So there's probably a lot more gothic art covers I like, but they were just further down the queue. And then we have flowers. Now, a lot of the art covers also contain flowers, but anything with a floral motif, I am a sucker for. I think flowers are nature's artwork. They're beautiful to look at. They make me happy. I can't really afford to buy flowers for my house every week, so having them on books is the next best thing. I especially like when they're manipulated in a way, so you'll see like melting flowers, for instance, which I don't know, really does something for me. It's creepy, but cool and still pretty. And then we have patterns. So this is patterns slash abstract. Anything that is to do with shapes or repeating motifs. Once again, I find it very eye-catching. It is interesting because it's a bit unusual, a bit strange. I think a lot of them have a modern feel, but some of them, as you can see, have also used the more classical art in their abstract patterned graphics. But yeah, it's another genre that I really do focus and hone in on. It's like, oh, it's almost hypnotic in a way. It's mesmerizing. Then we have probably what is my favorite genre. Sorry, there's someone walking past the house. They're gone. And that's retro. So anything with this really vintage, nostalgic, old school, cool vibe, something that feels like it's from the past. I just really like this aesthetic. I like the color palettes and the imagery. It just really speaks to me. So I think, yeah, out of all of the categories, retro would be my favorite. There were so many books in the last 2 years selection, and that's because even if I don't like the stories, which does tend to be the case with the retro book covers, I will always pick it up. I don't think I can pass up a retro looking book cover. There's just something about it that tickles my fancy. Then we have a bit more of a niche genre for me, and that is mushrooms. So anything with a shroom on the cover, mum is gonna want to put her hands on it. I have to give it a look. I am such a fan of fungi. I am a mushroom madam. I am a shroom sister. So I do gravitate towards anything from this particular animal kingdom, plant kingdom, neither nor fungal kingdom really. They've got their own genre. But yeah, I love me a mushroom. And then we have a little itty bitty one, but there were 3 books, so I thought, all right, it gets its own category, and that's torn paper. So it's that very interesting visual aspect of layers, of a portal too, if you will, and I just find it really cool. Then we've got the weird category, guys. This is the book covers that are just what the fucking. Like, what is this about? This is odd, it's strange, and I'm probably a little bit scared, a little bit trepidatious. What is going to be within these pages? Who knows? But pretty intriguing. I think it's that, enter if you dare sort of situation, but I love a really kooky, messed up Mad Hatter book cover. And then we've got the miscellaneous. So these are books that I didn't have enough of to give them their own category, but they're all ones that I think are really cool. Like for instance, Thunderhead, I've bought that because the pearls on the cover are actually iridescent and shine. And I love it when there's an element on a cover that's also got some sort of texture or special effect on it, so it really stands out. But these are just really interesting and out of the box. And I love that. And because of that, you notice them. The cover designers were trying something, different and cool. Although not all of them are different. Like for instance, Ripe is literally just a close-up of a pomegranate, and yet it's visually arresting. Delphi is a picture of wilted flowers that is overlaid on this yellow and pink background that just creates intrigue. So they might not be, really out there, but they are at the very least eye-catching and cool. So this is just a taste of book covers that I really like. Let me know if there's any one in particular that really stood out to you that you think is fantastic. I cannot pick a singular favorite because it just depends on my mood on that day, what I'm vibing with. But now we've come to the next part of our vlog, which is books that I literally picked up based on the covers alone. So we're going to start with the book Oddbody by Rose. So this is an example of minimal color palette. You've pretty much just got red, blue, and white. The title is in a spot gloss, which is really interesting. But as soon as I saw this cover, I thought, what's going on there? There's a bit of a weird element because you've got sheep that are actually cotton buds, so to speak. There's another alternative cover of this book, and I'll put it up here and you can tell me which one you prefer. I prefer this one. It also is a really cool matte. This is a matte finish. It's super floppy, so gorgeous edition. I had to order this from America because it's not getting published in Australia until October. So I did pay through the nose for this, but I didn't want to wait until October to get my hands on it. So I picked it up now. So Oddbody is a collection of short stories. It is also a surreal carnival of flesh, womanhood, and psyche. The stories are grotesque, gorgeous, and gushing with gunk. So I'm just going to give you a little one sentence synopsis of each of the short stories in this collection. So you have Oddbody, which is about a woman who is in a codependent relationship with a ghost who thinks her body is disgusting and that she should just off herself.
Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Kill yourself.
We then have Squirm, in which the dad is a worm and his daughter both enjoys and resents having to take care of him. Mouthful, in which a woman with oral fixations gets a guy's number while she's fisting her own throat on the train. Bella Lugosi Isn't Dead. This is about a young girl whose BFF is Bella Lugosi, and they like to play make-believe. There is on-page animal death and hints of grooming in this one. We then have Pineapple, in which a woman gets her body modified while she navigates being in a relationship with a clean, controlling freak of a boyfriend. Next to Cleanliness, this chick gets a full-on cleanse, babes. Lots of commentary on the toxic wellness industry. We then have Notes on Performance, in which a woman gives a lot of herself to land a role. Eggshells. In this one, a woman passes an egg daily that contains various malformed creatures that like to verbally abuse her. We have The Test, in which girls compete to win the hand of the fairy king, but perhaps it's better that they fail that test. All of the stories are definitely metaphor heavy, and they contain a lot of body horror, mental health issues, and animal harm. The writing style made the characters feel a bit detached for me, so I felt quite removed from the story. Overall, I thought the story collection was okay. There weren't any that were amazing, unfortunately. I thought they were all just, nice. But let's look at it through the lens of the cover. So at first glance, the cover seems, soft. You've got a warm red sort of wash with sheep that are suspended like cotton fluff. And it feels very sort of surreal and a little bit pastoral. But the more you start to look at it, the more things feel perhaps a little bit off. And I think that is a little bit of a preview into the book, which is clinical, uncanny, and a bit grotesque. The main themes of the book, I would say, are the body as a spectacle. So much like the sheep in the Pod's imagery, the stories play with vulnerability and exposure. Each body in this collection, human, animal, or imagined, is rendered strange, examined, and twisted. There's also that pastoral unease. The softness of the rural or natural world is here, but always complicated by violence, desire, shame, or transformation. It's pretty, but then it peels back the skin. Do I think the stories are as great as the cover? No, because I love the cover. I do think that it is a good representation of the stories within it. And this is a collection that I would recommend, but the cover, adore it. The next book I picked up is The Girl Who Became a Rabbit by Emilie Menzel. So this cover is done by an artist named Annie Sims. I always look up how to pronounce it, and then by the time I go to record, it's gone. But I do love the art style of this particular artist. This is a book of poetry. This particular book has a rose petal finish. So in this poetry collection, there is no plot, just spiraling. It's a lyrical essay. This is sort of, I guess, a poem of a rabbit digging into the warm earth of girlhood and grief and saying, let's rewrite this myth with fur and teeth. What does that mean? Fucked if I know. Honestly, I'm going to read you the blurb because that was the best sort of meaning that I could ascertain from the content of this book. So the blurb itself is, this is a book-length lyric, a dark, ruminative poem that pushes the limits of the prose poetic form to explore how the body carries and shapes grief and what it means to tell a story, examining reclaimed narratives of embodiment, gentle hauntings and fables of the body. Emilie Menzel approaches the body as a home we consciously build, spinning myths and fairy tales as a way to rewrite the body's history. This intersects fable and trauma, femininity and creatureliness, and imagines a transformation of the body perhaps into language. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand this. This felt a bit indecipherable. I will read you one of the poems so you can get So I will read you just a little snippet because it's not really individual poems. There are sometimes they're numbered, but I'm just going to read you a little paragraph. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to read you? I'm going to read you a paragraph and I want you to tell me what you think it means. I'll tell you what I think it means when I finish reading it. Tell me if you think I'm correct or if I'm being a bit of a pervert. All right, you ready? Sometimes the cock is a quick bird I try to catch with my hands, but end up fumbling on my blouse instead. You have to practice the soft pulling pink. Nurture your nails to fine-tune the wrist. My hands a bent corner. My hands a violin. Come now, controlled. Let loose now the yarn. She's giving a handy, right? That's what's happening, yeah? It's a handy, yeah? That's what I thought. But that's what everything is a bit obtuse. It's not straightforward. It's masked with pretty words, but I'm pretty sure she's talking about jacking someone off to completion. So does the book feel like its cover? Yes, it does. It's very streamy. It's very dreamy, strange, delicate, and charged with symbolism. The image of the veiled girl with antlers and rabbits stitched into her gown evokes themes of transformation, girlhood, vulnerability, and mythic wilderness. And that's the space this book of poems inhabits. The becoming a rabbit part is both literal and not. It's more about how a girl might unravel into creatureliness when language, culture, or grief demand it. So if you picked up this for the veil, antlers, and eerie lace dream logic, then yes, the inside does match. But in regards to the contents being as fab as the cover, that's a no from me. And the last book that I picked up is All Wrought Eventually, a horror novella by Mia Ballard. Both of Mia Ballard's other covers made it into my best covers ever list. I love this woman's artistic style. I think out of the 3 covers, Sugar is my favorite, but they're all fantastic. So this also has a rose petal finish. So in this book, Alexa Valentine just wants to be famous. Like, devour your soul and sign it in lip liner famous. Alexa didn't come to LA to find herself. She came to become someone else. Someone adored, enviable, and impossible to ignore. This is not a rags to riches story. It's Jennifer's Body meets La La Land. But no one gets out with their humanity or entrails intact. To get the fame and attention she believes she deserves, she sells her soul to the Hollywood industry. She is the final form of early 2000s bimbo horror. Tragic, hot, and spiritually decomposing. Somewhere between auditions and homicidal sprees, she becomes iconic. I'm not sure if the ending was metaphorical or literal, but it sure was hellishly bloody. I thought this book was great. The main themes would be the corruption of fame. Her drive to succeed literally turns monstrous. The shadow inside her grows every time she hungers for more. There is a lot about beauty, decay, and also a lot of body horror in this. The seedy glitz of LA doth hide rot. Bodies are currency, and Alexa's is up for auction. Now let's talk about the cover. This chaotic, sticker-bombed, rainbow-splattered one. It's not lying to you, it's warning you. It's cute and rot. The pastel sticker core sweetness is all over the surface, but within it is corrupted. I believe the cover and the novel both balance girlish innocence with visceral decay. And just like the main character Alexa, who has a pretty, feminine, innocent-seeming appearance, the cover is pretty, but the insides are filled with brutality and a violent need for attention. The cover is as great as the story. And that concludes our sacred ritual of cover worship. in which I let my eyeballs make all of the literary decisions. Oddbody is red, it's bold, and it looks like it could punch me in the throat with metaphors. The Girl Who Became a Rabbit has antlers, a veil, and lace animals, and I said, that's me now. And We All Wrought Eventually? That's not a book. That's a sticker sheet from a cursed trapper keeper, possessed by a murderer with a glitter glue addiction. I love her. So remember, don't judge a book by its contents. Let your TBR pile be dictated by the hotness of the cover.
That's hot. 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 This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot.
May your books be pretty, and until next time, stay aesthetic, Star Child. Now, today's perfume is Miss Macadamia by The Raconteur. In this you have macadamia, mimosa, orris, peach, vetiver, vanilla, and sandalwood. Miss Macadamia is a fragrance that flirts. Imagine a garden party held in the 1960s, hosted by a woman who reads Colette and eats pavlova with silver spoons. That's the vibe. The initial image, though, that came to my head when I sniffed this fragrance was a shag carpet lounge room from the 70s and a glass dish of car keys. The book that I would pair with this fragrance is The Collected Stories of Colette. It's feminine pleasure, wit, beauty, and botanical sensuality. Colette's stories are laced with mimosa and powdered skin. Each one is fragrant and soft-edged as Miss Macadamia herself. In regards to today's activities, I plan on doing pretty things, so I'm going to hit up a gallery and view some gorgeous artwork, maybe buy myself a pretty drink, and take home some gorgeous pastries. If there's anything else I do, I will tack it on. But that's everything for my cover crush segment, and I'll leave you guys with the footage of my adventures. But before I go, do let me know down below what your favorite book cover is. Guys, oh, that's just my luck. It's closed. Okay, I'm back. Things didn't quite go to plan, as you saw, but I just had to pivot. I did get another skullpanda, so I thought I will open on camera to finish off this vlog because these are super pretty. I like all of them except for loosening. That is the only one I don't like, so anything else I will be happy with. So let's have a look. Oh, so cute. I feel like this is the umbrella one. It is the rainy day. Oh, she's adorbs. And let's have a look at her little umbrella. Yes, here it is. Luckily I didn't see it. So let's put her little umbrella on. So here she is with her little umbrella. So she's adorable. I'm going to have to think of names. For some reason, she's giving Lily. So this is Lily. And that's everything for this vlog.
Oh, so pretty.